Now, when I started out woodworking, I was very broke. I didn't have any money. I had to borrow tools to get started, a circular saw and a couple of drills. I started in a very small shed. I had to figure out ways around not having a miter saw, not having a jointer to edge joint boards, not having proper dust collection, and many other things. Now, I'm gonna show you some tips and tricks I learned to hopefully help you. First up is the miter saw. Now, to be a woodworker, literally all you have to do is cut the wood and put the wood together. That's kind of the simplest form of that. A miter saw does help you do cross cuts, and it does it well, but they are also very expensive depending on the model you're looking at. I have a budget model that I'll link in the description below if you're interested in just going ahead and upgrading, but you don't need a miter saw to get started, and you can cut angles without one, or square cuts. Let me show you. So how do you get away with not having a miter saw? Well, this might be the single most useful tool right behind the tape measure that you can buy, and this is a Swanson Speed Square. I recommend this one because it's very inexpensive, very accurate, and extremely useful. Some say it's handy as a shirt pocket. It just gets hung in there sometimes. It's a really good square. Now check this out. I'm gonna use the very first power tool I started with, and that is this Master Mechanic, no name brand, off-brand, very inexpensive, very borrowed, but I still have, circular saw. Now, this was my dad's. He let me borrow it to get started, and he eventually gave it to me. Now, you can make good, accurate, straight cuts even with less expensive tools like this one. You just need a decent blade. This is a Diablo blade on there. Those are really nice blades for what you use them for, circular saws. Now, what I do to get really square cuts is I just use the Speed Square as a guide from anything on 2x6s or under, 2x4s, things like that. I built a bunch of these outdoor chair sets. J-Bates has free plans for these. You can just search J-Bates outdoor chair set. You'll find these plans for free. And I use this Speed Square to build a bunch of them. All you have to do is use this as a guide to get straight cuts. It's just hold it up against the edge of your lumber and then use that as a guide. Let your circular saw's base ride against the edge of that. You'll get good, accurate, straight cuts every time. It's easy. Some people can freehand straight cuts. If you can, congratulations. But I use this to get good square cuts. Now, what about angles? Because those outdoor chair sets require 10-degree angles, and that's what most people want a miter saw for, is those angles, this will help you get that. Now, is it as easy as a miter saw? No, but you can still accomplish the task. I sold a bunch of these chairs just using this as a 10-degree angle to get those angles on the feet. All you have to do is set it at 10 degrees and make that mark. And then if you want to freehand it, which you see here, I freehanded it, you do a pretty good job. It's pretty close. The problem is if you freehand it and you're off a little bit, when you get your chair fully built, it may wobble a little bit. That is fixable, but it's best if you don't have to deal with it. What I like to do is just hold this on the 10-degree mark and again, use that as an edge guide. You're not pushing too much pressure to the left that it's causing you to move. It's just enough to guide the saw so that it cuts that 10-degree angle that you're needing. You can do that with basically any angle using the Speed Square. That's how you get around that. But what about cutting wider pieces? Say you have a 2x10, 2x12, or even a piece of sheet goods like this piece of MDF that's about 12 inches wide. If you use a square, little Speed Square on that, what winds up happening is after you go past the end, it has a tendency to go to the left a little bit, and then you got a little inaccurate cut there. You don't want that. So you can use a framing square. These also are inexpensive. And then when you add the framing square fence, this is also inexpensive. This gives you a 24-inch wide crosscut guide. And this is a game changer. This thing is fantastic because it's so inexpensive, because it will attach to any framing square. Get a metal one. I like this one. I'll drop a link to all this in the description. When you make that crosscut, this will get you accurate wide crosscuts up to 24 inches wide. And one thing you can do to make it even better is just clamp the end down so that this doesn't move. Because it does have a lot of leverage out here on the end, especially when you get further out there, you want to clamp this down so that it doesn't move. It's very simple to do with a cheap clamp, and then you can cut that. And as you can see here, very, very square cut, just using a circular saw, a framing square, and this handy dandy fence right there. Next up is a jointer. You can edge joint boards without a jointer a couple of ways. I'm going to show you two ways here that I've done it over the years. And we're going to start with the easiest, least expensive, and that's with a 4-foot level. Now it has to be, or it should be, an I-beam style level. In other words, it looks like the letter I if you look at the end of it, and it's metal. It needs to be a metal level from a reputable brand. I like this Stanley, but you use whatever you like. Empire, anything like that, you find at local home stores will work just fine. First thing is first, you got to make sure it's level. Just look down it. If it don't look bowed, you'll probably be all right. Now, next thing you do is take this over to the table saw. If you have a table saw. I know beginners don't need, but if you have a table saw, this is how you can edge joint the board. You take the level, put it against the fence, and then you set the board against the level. Now you have to make sure that the end of the level and the end of the board are touching so that you can push those through together. They have to move at the exact same time. A lot of people say, what's the difference in just using the level versus using the fence? If you use just the fence against the edge of this board, basically the cut edge will be referencing this side of the board, which could be bowed or have a knot or anything like that in it, and it's going to throw it off. It will throw it off. When you put this against it, the blade has a flat, straight reference on the right side to use to cut a good straight cut. When you do that, you're going to get a good straight cut on this side of the board. Once you have this side straight, you can literally flip this over and then use this against the fence to rip the other side. Now you've got two parallel sides. Works like a dream. Where this is useful is if you're making panels, aka tabletops, which is what I used it for a lot. When you do that, it's going to remove that factory edge, which is rounded over, which will give you a nice tight seam there to be able to glue up. This works really good. Is it 100% perfect? Not always. Having a good feather board on there to keep that pressure against the fence or against the level, then a fence, it really does help push that horizontal pressure and keeps everything nice and straight. If you have a feather board, there's various ones out there from inexpensive to more expensive. Now the good thing about the level trick is you can use that on job site saws, cabinet saws, it really doesn't matter. I use it for a long time on my Delta saw. Works extremely well. I like the 4-foot style. Now you can only joint about 4.5 to 5 feet long boards with this method simply because of the length of the level. It just doesn't work out better than that. But this will work on a 2-foot level, but the 4-foot just gives you a little more runway. But this is a good solution if you don't have a jointer and you don't want to build a jig, which is what I'm going to show you now. Next up, if you want to joint without a jointer, you can use a jig like this. This is simply a sheet of plywood with some dovetail grooves cut in it using a palm router. This is a very simple jig to use and it works extremely well. Actually better than the level. I like this method a lot better. You just get better results that are repeatable. In other words, it just comes out better every time using the jig. Now jig's very simple to make. I have plans for this on my website, 731woodworks.com. You can go check out. It is a jointing jig. Now it uses dovetail grooves, so if you have a palm router, you can make this really easy. All you're gonna do is take a dovetail bit and route 2 parallel lines down each side of this jig, and then I put some cross lines in there or cross dovetail grooves in there just for extra clamping options. You can put stop blocks in there, anything like that. Once you have the jig built, all you do is put your board on the jig and clamp it down with those dovetail clamps and then run it through the saw. This works extremely well, and it'll work on job site saws, cabinet saws, anything like that, and you have a nice, really nice square edge. This works better than the level, but the level will get you by should you need to not want to build a jig or have the dovetail clamps or anything like that. It's just a less expensive option, but the jig does work better and it's easy to make. And besides, if you have the dovetail clamps and the dovetail bits, you can build all kinds of stuff using that for your shop. I built a portable workbench using it and several other nice little jigs around the shop that use that dovetail groove system.